Vincent Bruno posted a report in the Daily Mail and some other publication whose name I can't remember. I'll put it in the description in a moment. It reported the imminence of a Chinese company inventing a pregnancy robot, a surrogacy robot, I suppose. And Vincent took it as a sign that he had won. Obviously, my idea of imposing the legal system of secular Quranism on the world is a long-term project, as is his, which is to basically use another system of sexual reproduction and parenting to bring about, he claims, a more eugenic form of sex selection and parenting. So he believes in transhumanism and using all kinds of technology to assist humans in being better, I guess, at doing what they do. And he thinks getting a machine to incubate or gestate a fetus is better than allowing it to take place in a natural way of a male impregnating a female and the female carrying it to full term and giving birth to it and looking after it as a child of the marriage. So he thinks that he has won because the Chinese are about to produce such a machine. It's only 10,000 yuan, or is it 100,000 yuan or 10,000 pounds or dollars? I forget which now. And I'm saying, even if it is rolled out next year and sold at these prices, it would not mean a victory for people who want the next generation to be produced under these conditions. Obviously, lots of gay people would want such a thing. I say it is profoundly dysgenic because it means that people not capable of natural sexual reproduction get to pass their genes on. And if you're not capable of natural sexual reproduction, maybe you shouldn't be a parent. Most people have no interest in looking after other people's children. And so if you as a parent are not capable of looking after your children, you shouldn't really expect anyone else to do that, even though in theory there are orphanages and adoption agencies, but you certainly shouldn't be, producing young like you don't care about them and don't want to look after them. So I, of course, favour the old-fashioned method of man meets woman and courts her, and they're successful and they marry and have children and stay together for the sake of the children, and their children are a credit to them and they're happy. or as they get older, they are glad that they met each other and glad to have the children that they do. And this is how human life continues, not letting people who don't even want to marry, who nobody wants to marry, um, produce the next generation in this artificial way. So the argument, the discussion between Vincent and I is what are the conditions of um, him declaring victory or me declaring victory. Obviously, my conditions of victory is that secular Quran is adopted within my lifetime by a Western country. Um, and that I would consider a success. I mean, it doesn't have to go global within my lifetime. It would be actually um, tremendously gratifying if this were to happen. And I know my idea is extremely unpopular um, because really it proposes that Westerners round up their most sacred cows and take them to the slaughterhouse. So Westerners like their democracy, they like their feminism, they like their casual sex, they like their liberalism, and they like. Oh, let me just do it again properly. So their religions are unofficial religions, are feminism, liberalism, casual sex, democracy, and fake Christianity. They want to think that their religion is still Christianity, and it's obviously not by any stretch of the imagination. I know people are going to say, oh, but what about the Pope? What about the Archbishop of Canterbury? What about the Christian monarch of the United Kingdom? And I'm saying Britain is only nominally Christian because it needs the Church of England to say, to be there to legitimize the British monarchy. And it's not just Britain that's concerned, but all its colonies, such as Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, which it puts at the disposal of the American Empire. So, and the Americans regard themselves as Protestant, but because the Pope is now American, possibly Americans will feel themselves to dominate Christianity because of WASP supremacy and America's Catholic supremacy through having an American as the Pope. So, but anyway, the whole point is that America is the third Christian empire, and currently America straddles both Catholicism and Protestantism. But what I'm saying is these 5 pillars of Western, okay, these 5 sacred cows of the West uh, have to be slain uh, in order for the patriarchy to be restored in the West. And obviously, everybody's going to hate that because it's not what they're used to. It's not how they think of themselves as being no longer Christian, no longer liberal, no longer democratic, no longer feminist, and no longer. I've forgotten the 5th thing. Never mind. So I do understand how ambitious the project is, but I'm saying I would actually be more likely to succeed, because if 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 Westerners decided to correct themselves, I just do not see what better correction it would be than for them to adopt Sharia for non-Muslims. I know the idea is hateful because most of them are anti-Semites, Islamophobes, and they think they can just carry on limping along with their 5 sacred cows that are putting that are eating them out of house and home. So, what are the conditions of my success? I believe that an interview in mainstream media would be good enough to start the ball rolling. But I know that I'm on some sort of CIA blacklist, and even journalists who want to do a hatchet job on me are not allowed to do so, because they're basically told that their story, if written, will not be published. So I know of two journalists of 2 national publications in the UK wanting to do a story about me, but uh, basically being told by their editors that their stories will not be published, because I think my idea would be too dangerous to the current orthodoxy of feminism, liberalism, democracy, and fake Christianity, as well as their culture of casual sex. It would be too threatening to these 5 sacred cows. So that's why I'm, I'm not being platformed, even though I do have proposals that I think are supported by sound arguments. And if you don't like it, please tell me why I'm being illogical or relying on information that is incorrect. So my conditions of success are rather the threshold of what I would believe to be success is rather lower than Vincent's. Vincent thinks because the pre- the pregnancy robot is going to be released next year in China, he has won. But I'm saying he can't prove that his idea is a success until most of our ruling classes have been birthed in this way. Because what he's saying is that producing the next generation using his method would be more eugenic than producing the next generation using my traditional method. And I'm saying, in theory, my I am closer to success than he is, because A, he's got to get enough of these artificial wombs being used by enough people to produce notably superior human beings to ones who are birthed naturally. And I think that's going to be quite hard to prove. I can accept that they might be born alive and they might be more or less human and normal. But the thing is, even if they're normal, would they be parented normally? Would they not have all kinds of issues that will not become apparent until later? This is, I'm just anticipating problems, of course. So My conditions of success would be I'm platformed on mainstream media, and then the ball starts rolling, because the moment I'm platformed on mainstream media means that somebody from on high thinks that they're prepared to give my idea a try. While for Vincent to succeed, the ruling classes of at least one Western country would have to be born through these pregnancy robots to show the superiority and superior eugenics of Vincent's way of producing the next generation. And it wouldn't just be um, their gestation, it would also have to be their parenting. And that is really the hard part. So I trust I have made myself reasonably clear. I won't forget to put these two reports in the description. Thank you for your attention.